You.
If you'd like to give me a list of your desks.
Sure. Good morning. This is the Public Service Committee meeting. It is 9:01. Please call the roll.
Gripe,
Here.
Gums, Lewis,
Here.
Surges, Tepe, Young,
Here.
Roth.
Roth is here.
Thank you for participating, Mr. Roth.
You're welcome.
Is there a remote attendance request for anybody?
There ought to be.
Okay. Vern Tepe, are you online? I see him online here.
Yeah, he's muted right now.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody okay allowing Vern Tepe?
Yep.
Okay. That he's allowed? Okay. Can I have a approval of the minutes from last month?
Gripe would like to move for unanimous consent of the meeting minutes from September 18th, 2025.
Okay.
No problem.
Thanks, Bill.
Anytime, Mr. Craig.
And there is public comment today. I do believe one person did sign up. His name is David Young.
Come on.
You have to step down, which means your committee has to vote for someone
Oh,
to stand up and run the meeting while you are doing your public.
thank you. So how do I do that?
You nominate, somebody needs to get nominated.
Someone from the floor of your committee needs to be nominated to take the position while you stepped, unless Ken Shepro's online or Mark Armstrong or anybody.
Bill Roth, why don't you,
I would be willing to do that.
Mark, am I doing that right?
okay.
I have, the supervisor of assessments has no opinion on this process.
I say,
And I
So-
think Roth is a
But
good
it sounds-
choice.
Okay.
all in favor of allowing Bill Roth to run the next portion of
3
this meeting,
minutes.
which is public comment. Can I have,
I
get a voice roll?
Go for it.
Okay.
I like go for it better than I.
You need to call.
I can do here.
Yeah.
All right. All right. For public comment, we have David Young. You have 3 minutes, Mr. Young.
3 minutes.
Starting for the time. you walk
59,
from the front.
258.
When the time I start the stopwatch.
Okay, 3 minutes are up.
Okay. David Young. I've been here talking about our IDs, and everyone who does not have a real ID, they have this ID, okay? And on it, it says federal limits apply, okay? As of June or July of 2024, everyone gets a driver's license. It looks like this, even if they are a non-citizen. Now, let's not discuss illegal immigrants right now. Let's just talk about Sam from Ireland, who's on a student visa. Okay, Sam from Ireland comes over. He gets the same driver's license as us. He can go online if he wants to on the Illinois State Board of Elections and say that he's a U.S. citizen and go ahead, put his license number in here, and he'll get a voter registration ID card, because the state of Illinois does not check citizenship. So then how does he vote? Well, he goes to vote, and he's on your driver's license. Everyone's got a signature. So when he goes to vote, he just has a signature. And then you have a Democrat and Republican that will go ahead and look at the signature to verify that that signature matches where that signature came. That signature came from the Secretary of State. So if that person shows up, he can't be denied voting. Now, does this happen? I don't have any proof of this happening, but it can easily happen. So I went ahead and I asked the Secretary of State I did a FOIA for the Secretary of State for all TVDLs from 2018 to 2024. And I did a list of licenses from 2024 till now, because it's only less than a year. Well, I got denied because that is private information. They wouldn't share that information with me. The idea of me doing that is I would have this list and I would say, okay, who is on our voter rolls that shouldn't be? And I know that I've talked to Brian and Ted and I'm not Ted, but Mr. Duggan, and the clerk's office is just following state law, but that doesn't mean that we have a potential problem of voter rolls and who's on the voter rolls and how you clean that up. I have no idea. But that's what I want to talk about today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Young. And that's all for public comment today.
Okay.
All right, you ready to take back over? Okay.
Can
I stepped down and you're back in.
All right.
control.
Is it okay if I take over the responsibility now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, next up, we're gonna move,
And you
I'm sorry.
were 6 seconds early on your 3-minute limit.
Okay, well, I can go again, maybe at the end of the meeting. So we want to move up Mr. Pollock. He has a commitment in Rockford, so we'd like to move his report up first. Is that okay with everybody else to do so?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we have an official go for it?
go for it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Appreciate your accommodation and for the rest of the committee here. We'll be brief. You have the report. Want to point out a few things. We are overall still trending higher in terms of customers served for the year. We're 10% above last year. Our revenue, as you see, we are still trending high. We're at a little under 1.6 million in terms of revenue generated for this year. If you were just slightly below, we're over 100,000 above last year. We're slightly below our all-time high, but we still have 2 more months in the fiscal year to do that. So we're going to surpass that in terms of revenue. And again, all that revenue we generate is going back into the general fund. You've heard me mention passports over and over again for good reason. The revenue from those passports is one of those drivers for the additional revenue we're coming back. So far through this year, through September of this year, we've generated over $275,000 in revenue from passport fees, whether it's the agent fee that we get or the fees that people come to get as well. So just to give you a comparison, we were at 240,000 all year last year. The average for the last decade from 2010 to 2019 was 60,000 a year, and we're at 275. The last few years, we've mentioned that there's been an uptrend every year. We've set record after record after record, but just to compare it to where we were for an entire decade, your average, people can say, well, what did COVID change things? This was pre-COVID. This was the norm back then. And then if you look at our passports that we have, the applications we've completed, we're at 5,360 through September. We broke last year's record, which broke the 2023 record, which broke the 2022 record, and we still have 3 months left in the calendar year for calculating that. Every month except one this year has been a record on top of beating the record every other year. So it's been a great trend. It's great for our office because our staff handles it. It's not like we have to bring in additional staff to do something. It's another source of revenue that's non-tax based that comes back to your office. It comes back to the board. So with that, any other questions about the report itself?
Mr. Gripe?
It's not about the report, but our church, Christ Community Church, big church, so lots of locations, is doing a passport photo, a free passport photo to encourage people to go on international mission trips. All right. And sometimes I don't have a passport. I like to go, but I can't go. Any rate, so I went over and told the pastors at all locations, I said, people at the post office are nice and there's probably other places you could go, but the clerk's office in Kane County is the best spot and they have the greatest people and they do a great job and it's probably faster than you're going to get it in some other places. Not a cheaper necessarily, fees are fees.
Yes.
But at any rate, so it probably won't be a wave, but we're hoping that we get a bunch of people. And I said, we've got a great resource. So glad to be able to know you guys do such a great job.
Thank you so much for that. And other board members, feel free to let your constituents know. That's what we do.
Right.
If you're on the south end of the county, our office in Aurora does the same thing. So we're there. We appreciate it. We're here for public service. We want to make sure that our residents know what we do. Because sometimes you find out, oh, that's where I get a birth certificate? I didn't know that. I thought they just did elections, or I didn't know they did that stuff. I mean, if you want to talk about the tax extension stuff, most people don't understand what John does. But so yes, thank you for letting people know what this office does and what the other offices in the county do. We're a team and we want to make sure that we're all working together.
Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Anybody else have any questions for the clerk?
Nope.
I have two questions. So follow up on the passport. Is it a convenience factor when people are using it? And is it a cost factor? And then how can you advertise, whether at social media or whatever, to get more people to do this at your office next year?
We have it on social media. One thing to expand social media would be hopefully all of our board members are following our page and can push it out to your constituents. At least usually on Wednesdays, I'm posting something about passports because we have those extended hours. We're up until 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. So we want people to know if you're working, this is the time to do it. So there's usually something about the passport photos or, get your travel plans in if you're planning ahead. We have those posts. We let people know that if they were born in Kane County, they can get their birth certificate there. Again, kind of the one-stop shop between the photos and getting your birth certificate and that. So we try through social media. We're not obviously mailing things out to the public, but it's word of mouth and it's social media. In terms of why, that's a good question. There was pent-up travel demand. It's still there, maybe not as high as it was in 21 and 22. I know there are families that are looking to get documentation for their children. That's been a driver. And, also you have the natural flow of things of people saying, yeah, I want to do it now, or I need to renew mine or whatever it is. So, but, word of mouth and social media, the more you can help spread that word to your constituents, the more it helps everybody.
I know Nextdoor is coming on. I see Nextdoor all the time. Are you on Nextdoor?
I don't believe so.
Okay, just another platform that a lot of people seem to be doing. Okay, and I had another question was, I did that public comment about the voter rolls, and I just want to know, was that fairly accurate what I had said based upon our conversations? Not it's based upon what I said today. Was that fairly accurate?
Ms. Drescovell, our Director of Elections, like to comment?
Yeah,
Okay. So, so it gets, and I thank you. So it gets to the point where, we're the Illinois, so the Kane County Clerk's Office is following Illinois state law. And how do we understand whether we have non-qualified voters on that voter roll is still a discussion that needs to be had. And I don't know how you do it, where you do it, but
well, we follow state statute, right? We might not like it, but we have to follow that. So someone has to change the law.
Yeah.
So a lot of people sometimes they go get their license at the DMV. Sometimes they get immigrants or whatever that register because they are not doing their job. I don't know. So sometimes they come in, but when they get registered, they come into our office and they're scared because they weren't supposed to get registered, but the DMV just registered them.
really,
Right? So when they come in, we cancel them right there and then.
okay. Well, that's interesting. So it could be even worse than I thought. Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Treasurer and collector.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm sorry, recorder, I'm sorry, recorder.
See you later.
Oh, the reports are on file. Does anybody have questions? Okay, thank you. For finance and recorder, okay,
Mr. Shepro has joined us remotely today.
okay, as well as the treasurer. He's not. Okay, Mr. Lawson isn't here today, so his reports are on file. If you have any questions, please contact Mr. Lawson. Supervisor of Assessments.
Good morning, everyone. My report is on starts on page 58 of your packet. There's some general information there that is presented monthly comparison from one to the next. We are through the filing periods for Board of Review. There's still some complaints trickling in through the United States mail. If they are mailed and postmarked by the due date, they are considered filed as of the date of the postmark, and that's a state law. We are finding we are getting complaints and other documents arriving around 90 days after the postmark date. I'm not sure what the reason for that is, but I do know it does not exist within the county structure. It's something within the United States Postal Service, so definitely out of my ability to impact. The one thing that I don't have in the report yet, we're just starting to have public facing work on, is the update of the website. I don't know how many of you were briefed on some of the new interpretations of the Americans with Disabilities Act and how it affects websites. And so we are going to be making a lot of changes. Our first change was homestead exemption forms. Now, the due date to get this all done is April of next year. We opened on June 1st a taxpayer portal for homestead exemptions. We did it without a lot of fanfare precisely because we wanted to make sure everything worked before we started trumpeting it out loud. But just by placing it on the website, we've already gotten 1,000 exemption applications. And I'm very pleased to say it appears to be working as intended, which is really good because the fillable PDF forms we have been using will not be lawful to use once we hit April. So on January 1st, those are going to come off. Right now, they're both on there. But the first of the year, we're going to be moving it over to all using that portal to inform people. And then the other applications are going to follow along. This was our first test of how we did it, but everything seems to be working. And then finally, I know I sent out an email to a number of you. I'm not sure how many of you got it, but we did get our tentative equalization factor back from the state of Illinois. It is a 1.0000 factor, which means no changes. We've done the assessments correctly, at least on a macro basis, for the 38th consecutive year. There will be a public hearing on that on November 4th in Springfield. I'm going to be attending, not because I've never actually attended one before, and most of the hearings are very perfunctory, but I happen to be passing through Springfield right about the time, and so I'm going to stop in and see just how the hearings look, and I'm sure they're every bit as exciting as these meetings here are. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions any of the committee members have.
Yes, Bill Roth.
Roth here. Mark, would this for the record, so we can put it on, state what the portal is, the name?
Well, it's just you can find it through assessments.kanecountyil.gov.
Okay.
So it's just there on the website right now. If you go to exemptions, you'd have that opportunity. There's still going to be paper forms if someone wants to do it that way, but we can't do the PDF fillable forms. So we're gonna have to mail them out. We are, though, adjusting it. So if anyone comes across a paper form, there will be a QR code on it. If they scan that with their mobile device, they'll be able to sign up that way. Everything we're doing, by the way, is optimized for mobile devices. Our analysis shows that more than half of the people who access our content access it on a mobile device. So everything is being optimized for that purpose.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, John Gray.
Yeah, just one. I'm wondering what we could do, what the county could do to help people better understand, when they think about real estate taxes, I think they just think, I get a bill, somebody assesses the value, I pay the bill, or my mortgage company pays the bill, and that's that. I think the county does a pretty good job of communicating opportunities to reduce those bills, homeowner exemptions and things like that. But my guess is that a number of people don't take advantage of things they could to take, advantage of things like that. What would you say are the top 2, 3, 1 items that people don't know about or don't take advantage that we could work on communicating better?
I think really for the general public, there's only one, and that's going to be access to homestead exemptions. Now, one of the things that we do already is we put I get a letter, the treasurer and the treasurer's two predecessors has afforded me the opportunity to put something in every single tax bill that goes out every year. And we've done that since 2008. And it details what the exemptions are, how to check them, and where to go to get more information, and how to sign up, and to encourage people to call us. And that's actually our number one thing that we get. If you look on page 59 of the report, you see a large amount there. It says certificates of error. And error, as we've talked about before in this space, means something that corrects a tax bill, means the tax bill was in error for some reason. The vast majority of those are people who find out about homestead exemptions, and then they want to apply, and we can go ahead and approve them. Now, there's other ways of taking a look at everything, but everything comes with a cost. So what I want to look at is what is the cost versus the benefit. I had one taxpayer at a meeting suggest that we send out a registered letter, return receipt to every single member of the county, person in the county every year about this sort of thing. And we could do that. The annual cost would be about $1 million a year. And that's just for the mailing costs. When those return receipts come back, I would then need to file them and be able to access them according to the Local Records Act. So there's an additional cost there. Now, if you all have an extra million laying around and want to spend that, I'm on board. From rumor has it, you might not have an extra million laying around. But we're always looking at ways and trying to figure out what is the best way to do it. Now, we have tried some ways that did not work as well as we thought they would. For instance, early in my term, one of the things we did was we looked at voter records. Now, we cannot get birth dates, and Raymond has told us quickly that's not accessible, but we can get ages. So by getting ages, we can determine who is 65. And so we did a trial mailing to a smaller group of people. And are you signed up for the senior citizen exemption? We thought about trying to see, do they have the exemption? But at that time, the records were not set up so we could easily compare their address to our parcel numbers and get a list. So we started sending it out, and we got, first of all, a lot of people filed who already had it, but we still had to spend staff time processing it. We also found out people who returned 65 but had a spouse who was already 65 and they already had it. And now they applied and had to be told, no, you don't get two. And they were a little bit salty about that. So we ended up spending a lot of money for not a lot of actual benefit and a little bit of negative reaction from the public. So whenever we look at a new idea, I always compare it to that experience. What's the best thing to do with county money? And what's the best thing to do to get for public outreach? Now, having said that, we're always happy to look at new ideas and even revisit old ideas to see if there's a change. Right now, we're in the midst of actually doing that in our tax group. We looked at, for instance, the voter rolls, and we see the addresses are now, they weren't before, but they are now all stored in USPS format. That's wonderful because we're converting ours to USPS format as well. With that, we can probably narrow it down to a much smaller subset. What we then have to determine is ownership. I understand the discussion the earlier was on citizenship. There is no citizenship requirement in the property tax code. It's simply ownership, property tax liability, and occupancy as a principal dwelling. And for the senior, there's an age component as well. So we then need to determine how is the ownership name compare with the voter name. And sometimes people will use one name on deeds, but a different name on voter rolls. It may be something as simple as David and Dave. They might have one on the other, because often the deeds are filled out by paralegals who may have just put down a name and people aren't really paying attention when they get to the closing. And so we have some challenges ahead of analyzing that data, but it's something we're taking a look at again to see if that is an opportunity. Because as a practical matter, the more we can get as they turn 65 and not do them by certificate of error, the better off the county is there as well too, because you're not actually refunding something you've already extended. So every year we have new challenges and new opportunities. We're ready to take them on. I know that was a long answer. Did that answer your question?
I've learned to expect
Okay.
detail.
Yeah, I'm not exactly giving Ken Shepro length answers, but I'm close. I can.
But real quick, if you were to hazard it, and it would be probably a guess, you might know, but if 100 is the total number of people that could have homestead exemptions, how many people in Kane County take advantage of it?
I honestly don't have enough information that I could even give an educated guess on that. I can't say it's our number one exemption. Perhaps what I could do in next month's report is bring in a list of here's how many properties we have, say class 40, which would be 1 to 6 family dwellings, and how many of those receive exemptions. And we can see if we have some demographic data that might give us some clues as to how that would be. It's an interesting thought, and I hadn't approached it from that side, but we can certainly take a look at that.
The reason I asked, Mr. Chair, is, and for my colleagues, is, if 100 is the possible and we're at 98, wouldn't spend a whole lot of effort trying to communicate it. But if 100 is the possible and 70 is where we're at, then it might be worth doing some other things to communicate. So thank you.
You're welcome.
That would be interesting if you would have that.
Mr. Here,
Oh.
question. A follow-up.
Mr. Roth.
Do we show on the property tax bill that they have home exemption or senior?
Yes, all of those are showed. It's in the right-hand column. It's something we call the ladder. So if you're looking at the bill, you'll be able to see what exemptions you have received.
Right.
That's actually the purpose of the letter, saying,
Right.
check that. If you think, in a brief summary of what the requirements are, if you think you could qualify for those and you don't, call us, we can get it on by October 1st. After that, the wall comes down and we no longer have authority to do it
Right.
for that taxable year.
Okay. And since we're required to mail those anyway, we're already sending it out once a year.
Yes, I think we cover the whole county for a couple of $100. It's the most cost-effective thing I can think of. Probably, and thinking just on the exercise we're talking about, one other way to consider it is how many are getting the exemption who should not. And those numbers will be mixed together in that. So if I show raw number of exemptions and possible theoretically eligible ones, that would give us two numbers, but it wouldn't tell us where the interplay is of how many are getting it that should not, which would make it a higher number of those who should get it and aren't.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you. Any other
Welcome.
questions? Okay, moving to the Regional Office of Education.
Morning, everybody. So today I get to share with you the annual report for the fiscal year 2025. You should have a booklet in front of you. This being my first time, I'm going to kind of go over the major numbers. And then if there's any additional questions that you may have, they're either going to be in the booklet or I'm happy to give you the answer, or try to find the answer for you. In regards to our annual report, you can see on page 4 that there's an overview. All the information that I'm sharing with you is under my predecessor, Regional Superintendent retired Pat Del Santo, but the team has done some pretty amazing things over the course of that year. So as you can see, in regards to professional development, professional learning, we've got 1,841 workshop participants. 4,250 people were fingerprinted through our office. 520 GEDs were done, or high school wow, I'm having a hard time. Equivalency exams. On top of that, we're starting to review transcripts more now, so that, and this is something more recently that's occurred, but students can bring to us, if they haven't finished high school, they can bring to us all of their coursework, all of their information, and we can make the determination whether they fit having a high school diploma or a GED, so they could go on to college if they decide to do so. So that's a great new thing that we have. In regards to licenses, 3,615 were received through the Regional Office of Education. We've done just underneath 2,500 home visits over the course of last year. Bus drivers getting licensed or trained. This is not just the primary, the first time that they got trained, but also the follow-up, the retraining, and that's 1,209. And then the health and life safety visits. This is to our schools to make sure that our schools are safe environments for our students. That's 336, whereas the permits that I've talked about before, and you have in front of you, you should have this handout, this brochure. That brochure is going to overview some of our things that our office provides, but the permits are pretty important, obviously, as well. Those are going to be those add-on structures or those original structures as well. And that's 139 permits that are done. Most of that work ends up happening during the summers when schools are out. As you can see from page 5, we've got 9 districts that are inside Kane County. Those are all one are unit districts. So that's pre-K through 12th grade. And then we also have ties to continuing education. With those 9 districts, it does not include all of the resources that we provide for our homeschool parents in those programs, along with the parochial and private schools as well. We just recently, about 2 weeks ago, met with the leadership for those schools, those private and parochial schools. Our team structure is on page 6. If you look at it, this is underneath, again, Patricia Del Santo. We have restructured, which I'll share with you next year, but some of the things that we're going over right now have definitely changed. On pages 7 and 8, it gives a timeline, and then it also names our Board of Trustees for the regional office. And then Student Services is on page 9. Now, once again, we've restructured a bit, but as you can see, there's a lot of alternative learning opportunities to include our regional safe schools, and then our homeschooling, and the dropout intervention programs that we have, ALOP programs, which are the alternative learning opportunity programs, and then school health and wellness team. Now, Jeff Aronowski has taken over the student services area, but then on the next page, number 12, you see the Juvenile Justice Center. And so we work with, this is not actually our responsibility, but we have an IGA with 303, which is St. Charles, that we end up taking care of all of the educational programming over at the JJC. And I feel very, very fortunate to be taking over that kind of work for Dr. D. Oliver. And we're looking at making some changes, which I'll report on for next year. In regards to truancy prevention, this is one of when Katie and I ended up meeting with all of our superintendents. We met, and this is one of the key things that got brought up, those truancy issues, that the percentages that keep going up and up. And so we've been doing some things that are reactive, but then we're really trying to do more proactive things. And I could say that the districts have been doing a really nice job in regards to that tier 1 and tier 2 level responses to these truancy issues. And chronic truancy issues. And then we're putting together some different programming, which I've shared in the past. This year, we've got 4 different days with a specialist coming in and a lot of learning going over to try to address this problem in a more proactive approach. As you can see, the truancy levels are right there on page 12. And my hope is that those numbers are, that we can compare those numbers with next year. And my hope is that we're going to be seeing a decline in those numbers.
I have a question.
Yes.
All the districts are different sizes. Do you have like a percent? I mean, like Geneva looks really low, but also isn't at a lower population.
Say again. Oh, geez.
I heard it was a pass.
Yeah.
Board.
So I don't have those right now, but I can definitely get those. And then when I do reporting in the future, we can make sure to include that.
Because yes, Geneva looks very good.
John?
Yes.
Since we're on this page, I have another question. And I ask this every year, and nobody's been able to give me an answer, so you don't have to.
Could you use the microphone, please?
I'm sorry.
Thank you.
So, East Aurora, District 131, shows that referrals were at 723, which is double anything else. And it's even higher than U46, which is our hugest district. Are we better at doing referrals, or are we just really bad?
So what I can say is that some of the districts have used us at a higher level than other districts. However, we've already we've talked to Dr. Bob Halverson. We've made contact with him, and he has made it very clear to us he wants to utilize the Regional Office of Education in ways that have not been done before. We're actually meeting with him again on, I believe, Monday afternoon, maybe morning, to have further conversations about that, because we want to make sure he has the total understanding of what the umbrella is of what we can offer. So kudos to him, and I think that we're going to see some different areas of growth there. Thank you for your question.
Thank you for your answer.
Absolutely. So on page 13, you'll see we have the McKinney-Vento program, and we've got Jimmy Palamo, who is doing a fantastic job with that and meeting parents and families that are maybe more in need, meeting them where they're at and providing some structures of support. And so we're going to continue doing those things. You'll see different drives, and we'll have backpacks, school supplies to make sure that the students are able to come prepared to learn. And then we have other programs in case for them as well. On page 14, it says networks, and it's one page. It says networks. It says established networks. I really want to lean into this a little bit more, because you can see that we have quite a bit of networks inside in the region and in the Kane County. And this is where we probably make the most benefit for our students, because we have all of these groups coming together, learning from each other, growing together, getting ideas from each other. These networks are very important. As a matter of fact, at one of the most recent CSBO, Chief School Business Officers networks, they said, a lot of us are going to this financial management system and we need more help. Can we set up a network for our people that use it so that they can learn together and grow? Can we maybe get a specialist in of that as well? Absolutely. And we have, I think there's five districts that are wanting to do that. And that's our power. We're able to bring people together and learn from each other and make things hopefully much better. Going over to professional learning, I don't know much about this. Just kidding. Katie Elgrim, the assistant regional superintendent, has been the leader of that for quite some time. She continues to oversee it. There's a lot of professional learning that takes place over a year. You can see some of those programs in front of you on pages 15 and 16. What is key here is that learning can occur in person, virtual. We like it to be in person, but it can be virtual as well. It could also be on demand, and that is the Illinois Online Academy. We are also a partner with a learning partner through the Illinois State Board of Education, so we can really meet with our districts, figure out what their needs are, and then be able to give them that kind of support. So there's much more to it, but you can see that the workshops and the administrators academies and the American Online participants, quite some great numbers in regards to making sure that we're meeting their needs in professional learning. Operations and technology, this really comes down to the safety piece. The compliance aspect used to fall underneath this as well, but that's moved over to our student services. So you'll see that we have different trainings throughout. We have school safety trainings, reunification trainings, the fingerprinting, and all of these other things that are on those two pages, 17 and 18. And then on top of that, there's those technology services that are provided as well. And that I want to mention is not just for Kane County, but Phil Morris, the Director of Operations and Technology, really provides services and support for all of the Regional Office of Education and the ISCs as well.
I have a quick
Yeah.
question there.
Go ahead.
GIS, are we using the King County GIS to help on that? Because we have a whole department here doing GIS on the left side.
Oh, thank you.
17. You know, you're helping the different school districts.
Sure.
And we have a department here that does GIS full time.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know what.
We
I
should look in,
apologize,
because
yeah.
it's, working together. In fact, they have GIS Day coming up in November.
Use the microphone, please.
They have GIS Day coming up in November, down in the auditorium below. And they
def-
have the different examples of using GIS.
And it may be that we have that relationship. I just
Yeah.
may not know, but I'll have that answer
Okay.
for you for sure. Yeah, it makes sense that we
I'm a
would.
nerd, so I know these things.
I wasn't going to say that out loud.
I'm used to it.
I have a question on the fingerprinting. Is that something that is that a machine that is something that you guys have in-house and
Yep.
you do all that stuff? You don't have an outside service because you do so many of them. I would imagine you have your own equipment. Is that
Yes, we
correct?
do. That is correct. And we work with law enforcement in order to have the correct training for that and also to keep that secure. And then on top of it, that we have to pay the law enforcement in order to provide that service as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes. So going on to communications and marketing, you see this packet itself, and then the handout that the brochure that I gave you, our online presence as well, promoting the different services we have. This, and then also leading the communications network. These are all things that our office does. And then you can see the highlight. We get to see kids too, which is great because I moved over from this school district over to the regional office, and I still get to see kids. So we've got some different things, including the photography contest that's going to be coming up. And then you can see a spelling bee, educator of the year, institute panels that we have going on, which I should have highlighted. The superintendents we most recently met with, they definitely want us to continue doing that Institute Day, which is essential. Additionally, we have the Youth Voices Forum. So a lot of different things that we're able to do with our districts. On the next page, you'll see that licensure and transportation. And this is just keyed into safety again, because we want to make sure that the students are getting from point A to point B safely. We want to make sure that the correct people are around them and helping them. Then you can see that we've got partnerships as well. We can't do it alone. There's a lot of ways that either CASA or the JJC or Spark and other things are tying together to try to meet our parents and our students where they're at and provide those kind of services. So you can see that. Additionally, the Educator of the Year is bigger than any wedding that I've been to. I got to go last year. I met some of you there as well, but it is fantastic. It's a great party. It's a great way to celebrate our educators.
You got some guy dancing there. That looks good. That doesn't look
That was
good.
that was one of the winners.
And then on pages 25 and 26 goes over our finances, which I've shared in the past. And yes, we are doing different cutbacks for the future, just like I think every department is going to be doing for the future. But you can see there what we get from the county compared to different things that we're trying to do through grants outside of it, whether that's statewide or federal government grants. And then as you look to pages 27, 28 and onward, you can see some of the different numbers that we have that represent enrollment and the different funding that's in place. and the different buildings that are being used and personnel numbers. So that gives you an idea. I'm not going to read through those numbers for you, but if you have any questions, let me know. Once again, I may or may not be able to answer those. Are there any questions at this point?
Questions, Mr. Gripe?
Oh, go ahead, Bill.
No, I saw Mr.
I-
Gripe first.
Yeah, no, Gripe, you can go because
Right.
I'm the
Michael's
cha-
one of our
I'm
council.
I got
the
it. I got a
chairman.
few.
I'm the chairman for the day.
Okay,
So I'm
great.
calling
Yes, sir.
Mr. Gripe.
Yes, sir. Thank
Oh.
you, sir.
It's going right to it. So.
Right away, sir. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, on page 4, great report, by the way, and it's so nice to have a committee chair show up and actually to say something other than reports are on file. Have a nice day. Have a nice month. So my question on page 4 is, it goes back to the people fingerprinting, and you talked about this a little earlier. I would assume those are new teachers and
So we do fingerprinting throughout. We will do fingerprinting for educators, but we'll do fingerprinting for companies, for, you know,
so anybody, like, I had to get them as a securities licensee, so.
Yes.
That's.
you got it. And
That's
then
good.
we'll send those results to that organization, not handing them over to the that person.
And then you show about school and home visits, a lot of those, that's great. I know homeschooling is something that's important to a lot of our constituents. And there's a bill that Ms. Gums tells me probably won't see much progress, but it might, and that's to make homeschooling a criminal offense. And I'm hoping that you guys can lobby against that because it's a great choice. It's, you know, it's an opportunity for people to whatever, but to outlaw it, I think would be horrible. So if there's anything you guys can do to lobby the legislature against it, I think that would be great. On page 6, actually it's page 5. So obviously some of these districts go outside of Kane County, but I figure because at least, well, maybe not with U46, most of it isn't in Kane County, but it's still in Kane County, which is how you guys help. So
Correct.
would you be involved then with Cook County or DuPage County or?
Yeah, so we have relationships with all of those regional offices of education, or in the case of Cook County, it's really West Cook County, and that's an ISC. And so we have communication with all those. It's interesting. I was on the phone with a superintendent that is not in Kane County yesterday, and they're talking about what happens if we move our district office within Kane County, the King County's boundaries. Do we become? And so I had to phone a friend because, you know, I'm kind of new at this gig. And so I had talked to somebody, and I guess when the boundaries were set, it was set by the Regional Office of Education and where they were located. In the last 10 years, there's been 4 challenges to that, but it has always turned out that if you move a district office back into the boundaries, because that's how they were set up, that you continue to stay within the ROE that you have already been a part of. Does that answer your question? Okay, and then the relationship, we work very closely with our neighbors.
Okay. And page 10 shows the JJC, and Ms. Lewis, actually, she was the one that got me to get to a point
Yeah,
where we can go in and work with the kids and just talk to them and what. So I got some exposure to this, but it's phenomenal. The sad thing is that nobody would know about it because most people can't go in there
correct.
without background checks and all that, which I encourage people to do, you know, the chaplain program and whatever, but it's a phenomenal program. So, and my last comment is on page 12. A truancy referral, and Ms. Lewis talked about this, but so these are referrals that we say if somebody says we think there's truancy, we need you to go out, or how does that?
So there's different stages and and definitions of what a truant is and a chronic truant. But that changed about, I want to say about 7 years ago, that it changed to 9% of the school year. That it was 9% that, you know, or it was 9 times if they were truant 9 times. And that was with no doctor's excuse or anything like that. Then they started the program. Now, schools and districts are supposed to put in their own program within their truancy program that fits underneath ours. And so they have multiple stages before it gets to our level. But then when it gets to our level, we are working with the counselors, the schools, in order to collaborate with them so that we just kind of ease in there and work with the families as well, and provide supports for the families, because sometimes it's that the parents have not had a great experience with the school system. Sometimes the students are being used for some sort of a daycare situation that's at home. And sometimes it's, just the kids kind of doing what they want to do and running the show a little bit. And there's other things that are involved with that too, and other variables and factors. But usually by the time it gets to us, they've already tried to do many different steps to get to our level. And sometimes we are able to get there soon enough that it makes some great changes right away. And sometimes we need to get a little deeper into that program.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Roth.
One's a comment. Thank you for going through it. A lot of times we get these annual reports and they say, let us know if you have any questions.
I figured I was going to ask you all afterwards. Did I go too
Quiz.
much in depth or
No.
but I
Okay.
know that Mr. Young would like to sit in that seat as long as he can.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we need
And
to
then
take
the
a
other
picture of me.
questions, you had the count, school count for all the districts. Do you have available like the homeschooling counts?
I do not currently.
I don't know if we're able
Try to get
to
it.
legally, but that would be interesting.
And I know
'cause
that
I know it's big, but I always say, I don't argue unless I have the facts.
I know that some of the constituents I've talked to there's another bill that's out there that is tied to the homeschools registering at the ROE. That bill has kind of wavered a little bit because the sponsor of that bill has moved on to a different role, I believe. But it is one of the things that constituents have been concerned about. And right now, the regional offices of education, we've all fit, and the ISCs, we all fit under something called IARSS. That's an association. We are not necessarily, as an association, we are not lobbying for that bill to go through. We're,
And I don't necessarily want to have more laws or more rules. I mean, Ms. Juby, I would ask for input on that too, what her thoughts are. You don't care.
Leslie,
It's not really germane to this. We
Okay.
can talk.
We can do it offline. then.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
germane to their presentation, but I do have a comment.
yes, Ms. Juby.
You ran through all of your student involvements really, really quickly,
I
and you
did.
missed a really important one at the end when you talked about the youth voices forum. For those of you who don't know, that is a partnership we have with the health department, and it brings students together to tell us candidly what's going on in their world. And a lot of times their conversations and their comments actually do drive policy in their homeschool districts. And so just wanted to say, I think this is the third year of this, and it's a really wonderful thing. And if I ever get lucky enough to get invited again,
Oh, geez.
I would love to be part of that as a note taker on the whiteboard, because I learned so much from those kids. So just pat yourself on the back, because that's one that actually drives good positive outcomes.
And that is, I'm glad you said that, Mr. Obi, because I have not been a part of that yet. So that's why I glazed over it, because I knew that was a weak area.
It's to be applauded.
Awesome.
It
Thank
is.
you.
Got to
Ms.
listen to
Juby.
him. I have two questions if I'm next.
Yes,
Okay. One,
Anita Lewis.
thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chair.
That's
Do we,
so good.
oh my gosh. Do we generate
tell my
revenue
wife.
from the fingerprinting? Do we generate revenue from the fingerprinting?
We do generate revenue. The revenue that we get, we charge, I believe it's $40. And that's the least amount that any of the ROEs that I'm aware of that do what we do charge. We're not looking to necessarily overcharge for that. So it pays for itself out of what we get billed from law enforcement.
Because as we were talking with Brian, it's become passports have become a really good revenue source for us. So I was just thinking, I wonder if we should be charging more and sending our people to you for this service. Just a thought.
Thank you.
You keep thinking about it.
I'll keep thinking about it. Thank
And
you.
then
very-
my last question is, what have you guys seen, especially like in Aurora and Elgin, as far as now that ICE is with us, people keeping their children home from school? Because I've heard a lot of rumors. I was just curious what your take on that is.
So we have seen a decrease in attendance, and the words what we're kind of sensing, nobody knows for sure, but it is because of the ICE presence.
Mhm.
But once again, I don't know those things for certain. I'm going off the feel that we're getting. Definitely enrollment's down right now.
I have a question, and I'm on the Jobs Committee with Anita Lewis, and what we talk about all the time is the need to train young people to go into trades. And specifically for me, I am in the industrial automation market, and there are so many people looking for machinists, people just to wire panels, and that's all you hear about when I visit my customers. Like, we can't get people to do that kind of work. And let's just talk about someone running a machine tool.
Yeah.
A Haas CNC machining tool, Mazak, whatever. Are you involved with any of that with the regional?
Yeah.
Are you guys, okay, so I didn't see this in here, so.
Well,
Okay, go
we're doing more and more with it.
Okay.
And it's really, especially, that's one of the things with the JJC that we're starting to do, the Juvenile Justice Center we're starting to do. But as we're meeting and working with Valleys and their mirror organization up north, there's more and more going into what we consider to be CTE. Wabansie High School, there's some dual credit things going on with Wabansie and high schools that tie into the trades. They had just opened 100,000 square foot facility tied to welding and automation and automobiles, right? I mean, the whole thing. And it's pretty incredible to see that it's continuing to fill up. So that just opened recently. Up north, they're starting, I believe, in the fall of 2026. Elgin is going to be having a
ECC, it's going to be huge.
It is. And then on top of that, there's different groups, so different districts that are coming together and they're using their programming. So they're sharing their programming. So there may be a veterinarian program at St. Charles, and they only have 7 of their kids that are interested. Well, what they've done to continue to have these kind of programs is they've started to share it with other districts. So first, St. Charles gets to fill as many seats as they want. But then after that, other districts that are a part of that relationship, they're able to do it. So what we're finding is by working smarter and leaning on each other and those great relationships that they have, they're able to give more programming like that. There's many different programs that I'm just starting to get to know. I've been in for about 3.5 months now.
Right.
But it is a huge, so at the JJC, and once again, this isn't dealing with the report this year, but we started noticing that whether we have young men and women there for 4 days or 4 weeks or 4 months or 2 years, that we need to look at their education differently. And so we're starting to use, but we have limitations in what we can do there. And so we're starting to use technology to give them a glimpse through VR, AR, what it is to weld, what it is to go up on a tower and to work in a tower, and using VR and AR to give them an idea of doing surgery on a knee. Not that we want, people to do surgery on our knee without the correct training, but they're getting a glimpse of this electrician position. This is what the common wage is. This is what the average wage is. This is how I want to live my life, what my lifestyle is going to cost. Does that fit? And then it starts giving some programming, and you can start learning and put your hands on through these Quest. It's like Meta Quest, the VR with it, that it really sends you into that job and sets you up for it in the future. So these are some of the things that we're going to start using at the JJC, but other districts are utilizing across our county as well. And the ones that aren't, they're learning about it. And it's just another fantastic option for our kids to be exposed, not just to all of the college things, which is fantastic. And they have Naviance for that to kind of help guide you in what you want to do, but then also to get into the trades, because there's a huge need right now for that. I completely agree.
And there needs to be, like, my daughter went to Central, Burlington Central, and, everywhere you walked up and down the halls and you see banners of the different colleges that they attended. Okay, that's pushing you toward only going to college, right? You ought to push, maybe have here's a picture of a Caterpillar, where someone just went directly to work for Caterpillar out of high school doing something. They don't need to go to, my point is that we've been, this has been happening for years, right? Where we just shoving people into going to a university or a college, and that may not be their best path. But it's also, when you're at the high schools like Central, it's also, well, is there something wrong with me if I don't want to go to a college? So you need to somehow think of that where it needs to be marketed, where no, this is perfectly fine for you to go to and do this, and that it's required. Anita Lewis.
Mr. Chair, thank you. So at East Aurora, on Fridays, all the staff and counselors and stuff are encouraged to wear their college shirts or, that kind of thing. Well, now they've started on Thursdays. They encourage them all to wear trade shirts. Many of them didn't have them, so if you can get me some, I'll pass them on. But from different companies in the area, to promote that thing. My daughter one day wore a vest from Menards, because those things are also important for our kids to get exposed to. So you might want to mention that at yours. That's kind of fun. Do we have a list, or do you guys have access to which of our school districts have career centers or vocational centers? And I know some of them share a vocational center, but that would be interesting for our jobs committee to talk about. I know East Aurora is working on putting a new one in. West Aurora's got a phenomenal program. Up north, they have a great program in the U46 network, and Canelan's got a really nice one. Yes, which I had to.
I was going to say, you guys moved into the wrong neighborhood, because if you had moved into Batavia, Geneva, St. Charles, or Caneland, you could have been part of the Fox Valley Career Center, which I have always considered to be the crown jewel, where they actually provide training, really good training for people who don't necessarily want to go to college. So they have a firefighting program, childcare program, automotive program, electrician program, printing program. Oh, which one am I missing?
Nursing.
The really good nursing. They have a forensic program. They have a ROTC program. They have the sheriff one where they have all the bloody footprints on the floor.
Forensics.
That's still the forensics? They have a coffin in there with to teach them how to do military honor. I mean, it's fabulous, and they would love if you gave them a call to give you a tour.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John Gripe.
Just real quick, I appreciate the conversation we're having here, but I'd be glad to work with you guys. I'm a college graduate, but that doesn't make anything. And it was not as expensive as it is today. I mean, it's at least $250,000 that people are putting into this. My point is that we need to compete to communicate with high school kids about opportunities not going to college instead of going to college. Because educational institute, it's not an education thing, it's a business. Higher education, college and beyond is a big business, and they spend millions each. I know my alma mater spends hundreds of millions of dollars a year recruiting
Right.
people to get them to go. You got to come here and you can't be successful unless you do. I think we should, don't have hundreds of millions, obviously, but we should offer the opportunity in the schools that we represent to people to understand there's more than one path. And I think a lot of people, especially in higher socioeconomic levels, that's what you have to do. And it's not. And I can't tell you how many people I worked with in my finance practice that were just buried in debt. My own son to this day, he's 40, still has $120,000 in school debt that he's paying on. It's a house. So anyway, I'd be glad to work with you guys to, not that I'm a source, but to help in fight that fight for other options like Anita and yeah, right. Leslie, we're talking about.
Absolutely. And like tomorrow, there is an Illuminate Career Pathways. It's basically in the city of Aurora for ninth graders. And there's a whole bunch of different booths and they have to be interactive. And so that our ninth graders are going to be able to go and be exposed. Now part of it is being exposed and then the other part is development, right? And so what's interesting here is that I wanted what I'm hearing you all want, which is for there to be multiple pathways into career. Some people are going to choose college. Some people are going to choose blue collar. Some people are going to choose automation, those kind of things. Like there's so many different things. And so that's where I believe that since I went to school, the high schools are doing a much better job of looking at different career clusters, figuring out where you're at, and then giving different ideas of, have you ever thought of this? Have you ever thought of that? So there's a lot of great stuff going on. Can it be improved? Yes, for sure. But yeah, so thank you.
Okay, thank you for the for the discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Vern Tepe, sorry, I
Tepe.
didn't see your hand up. Go ahead.
John, I might be appropriate for you to mention the seminar that's going on today.
I think you just did.
Okay,
The one in Aurora, Vern?
no, the one
That's
in Elgin.
tomorrow.
Oh, no, well, you
Oh,
mentioned that.
so we have Jeff Inarowski, our executive director, administrative services, is over there right now. Do you know anything? One sec, we're looking into a little more details about it.
Well,
Yep.
there's,
Right now, there's a MTSS framework that's it's a workshop today that's designed to improve attendance and address attendance problems that we're seeing in schools. And so John had mentioned, our executive director who oversees kind of our truancy program and a lot of our alternative learning programs is over there right now. And that's currently happening. And it was open for registration and there was no cost for educators or for anyone to attend.
okay, thank you.
And my understanding is that I believe we have every single district has a team there.
Vern, was that what you were looking for?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay, we're going to move on to
Veterans.
this commission.
Who's been waiting patiently for all
Mr.
this.
Jake.
All fascinating stuff. Don't forget about the military being a great opportunity. to
Oh,
learn-
my.
Learn about
Sorry.
careers. So
Absolutely.
So our report begins on page 61 of your packets. It's a very standard report. There's nothing that's really out of line or anything that isn't going better than what we expect there. I want to take a few minutes just to mention that we're getting a lot of Veterans Day information in about events throughout the community, lunches and ceremonies. We're sending those over to Julie so she can put those in Kane County Connect. So keep an eye on that. They're also going to be up on our social media pages as they come in. Additionally, we have a lot of questions from stakeholders about the government shutdown and how it is impacting veterans. It's interesting. The VA has different types of appropriations, and some of those are multiple year appropriations. So things like veterans healthcare is something that's not impacted, and I actually believe is funded through fiscal year 2027. But there are some that are. So if you'll indulge me, I'll just run through those real quick. The VA medical centers, outpatient clinics, and vet centers are open as usual and providing services. Benefits payments are being processed and delivered, including disability compensation, pension, education, and housing benefits. Burials are continuing at VA national cemeteries. Headstones, markers, and burial benefits are still being processed. The Board of Veterans Appeals is continuing to make decisions on claims, and the VA call centers remain open as well. Suicide prevention programs, homelessness services, and caregiver support does continue. Some of the administrative functions of the VA are what has come to a halt with the lapse in appropriations. VA will cease providing transition care assistance and career counseling. The GI Bill hotline, which is one hotline that actually is closed. The others are remaining open. VA regional offices are closed. So the Chicago VA regional office, there are folks that are going in there processing benefits, but their public contact team is not there or is not functioning as it usually does. Public affairs, different events, those aren't happening. Grounds maintenance at VA cemeteries also is not happening. And there's no outreach from the VA central office to different state, county, tribal, and other faith-based organizations. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Any questions, Anita?
Yeah, real quick. So is funding for your position?
We are funded through
Expected at
you
all?
guys, so we're all good.
Okay. That's what I thought, but I know you still get money elsewhere, so we can just keep funneling people into your office.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Please. And one thing I didn't mention on the government shutdown, where it does disproportionately impact veterans is the federal workforce. There's a lot of veterans who work for the federal government, and that's very true in King County, where we have 2 air traffic control centers. Something north of like 80% of the air traffic controllers are veterans. That's where they get a lot of their people from. So those folks are being impacted right now. So if you know of a veteran who is on hard times right now, whether our office can directly assist them or a lot of our partners, we can get them some stopgap help to get them through this lapse.
Leslie Juby? Oh,
No.
go ahead.
I understand that you are either currently down a wingman or will soon be down a wingman. How's that working for you? Are you able to find, well, I can't say replacement because there will be no replacement. Are you able to find someone who can make the job their own?
Yes, appreciate the question. So Nate, our assistant superintendent, leaves to be the superintendent at McHenry County Friday next week. The way our funding and way we're structured, we're a little bit different than a lot of other organizations here. We actually were able to solicit when we found out that that position was going to be vacant. So we solicited for the position. We hired the position. That person's in training this week, which if we didn't do it that way and we waited, they wouldn't be into training until January. So we're hopefully going to have a very minimal lapse in personnel.
And what branch of service?
Army.
Okay.
So one Army out, one
Right.
Army in.
Make sure we had the balance going there. Okay.
Still waiting for my Space Force guy.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's just a thank you, Jake. I have, in the limited time I've been in this place, I have never heard you complain about resources or lack of time or the issues that get dumped on your desk or in your office. And we hear that from others, that not that it's inappropriate, but your attitude about doing what you do, which is so important, especially in a situation like this, where the federal government is having its issues and you're coming through for people and still carrying through just to give them a place to go. I talk about you guys all the time to other people in other counties saying, how blessed we are to have your office. So just a thank you for continuing to be a constant source of resource and a smiling face. It's appreciated.
Well, thank you. And I'll share that with the team. It's really their hard work and also being resourced by the board. So thank you.
And I have a comment. So Jake helped me out with an issue that a friend of mine had a problem and he just got right in. And it's for a vet or not a vet, it's for a veteran that lives in Cook County. So I want to thank you for helping me with that. I don't know what's going to happen now, but the resources that you pointed out, thank you very much for doing that,
Absolutely.
He
Leslie.
helped me with a constituent in Florida. So
And I mean, he just steps up.
he is
Yes.
an amazing resource.
Yes.
We probably shouldn't overutilize him because we don't want to overwhelm
know.
him, but if you guys haven't found a reason to talk to him, you were amazing.
Yep.
Thank you. And she was so appreciative
Okay.
of that help.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's awesome.
Happy to help.
Okay, is there other business that we need to discuss?
Mr. Chair, just one quick thing for the next agenda. Not sure how to get this, but the goals, and that's on the agenda now, but I don't know that we have time to talk about it because there's another meeting coming up. But if we could put that on next month's agenda, and I have some ideas I can send to Jarrett
You want to
and,
make a motion?
sure. Do I need to?
No.
Nope, I don't need to.
I think you can just do a consensus to
Okay.
put it on the
consensus.
next
I
one.
think that,
We got to talk about it.
not that I'm going to tell you how to do your
I need help.
share,
I need help.
but I think because you're under other business,
Right.
that all the chairs have been tasked with having their committees reset the goals for the upcoming school year. And
School year?
so I come from education. What do you want from me? And so because this is on there, maybe this is a way to have you give a homework assignment to everyone to come to the next meeting with those goals that can be fully fleshed out. And then maybe talk with Jarrett about having it as an action item the next time, because it's just a discussion item here anyway. So you don't really need a vote.
Okay, well, let's,
Thank you, Miss.
What
Judy.
she said.
thank you, Leslie Juby. Then we will have this discussion and we'll have this discussion next month with the committee goals for 2026. And Jarrett couldn't make it. By the way, he just had a heck of a time going through traffic. You know, he was going to be slightly late, he said, but he ran into all kinds of traffic and construction. So he mentioned that these committee goals should be put on for the next meeting. So we'll do it at that next meeting. Yes, Mr.
And the
Roth.
other thing I mentioned in every committee, we need to have them, some of them, if not most of them, be SMART goals.
Yep.
Which means they're measurable and stuff like that.
Not dumb goals,
Yeah, as versus
measured,
non-SMART, yeah.
measured.
And I
goals.
have a handout that went out in May to everybody on how to do SMART goals. It was a white paper done.
Send that to everybody.
It was sent then. I can resend it.
Did I get that? And
Yes, you did, because I sent it to everyone back
I
in
delete
May.
that, not read it?
Yeah,
Please send it again.
okay. It was brought up in the special finance meeting we had on May 5th.
Okay, yeah, please send that again, especially for these goals coming up. Executive session, I don't think anything is needed. No, okay. Can I have a
Roth will
motion?
make a motion, put unanimous request to put reports on file.
All in favor?
I
Okay.
agree. And then I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Let the chair
We're
make the
trying
next,
to
let
create it up so
the
you can-
chair
All right, fine.
call for it.
Too late.
Point of
Can I
order.
have a second? Who seconds the adjournment?
Nobody.
John Gripe? Can I get a
It's only
second?
you.
We want you to just be in charge. a few
I'll
minutes
second,
longer.
I'll second it.
All right, thank you, David.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing you guys.
And if Jared has a flat tire
Bye.
next month, we know